All right. Okay, so, hey guys. Today I have Aewon Wolf here on the It's Not Common Sense podcast. Thank you so much for this opportunity. We are here at your lovely home right now.
Yeah.
Man, this place is crazy.
So
Bro.
technically, it's part of the farm I'm on. Yeah, it's actually my neighbor's spot. But yeah,
Mm. And like, I wanted to have you on the show because I believe that you made a very drastic transformation in terms of your life and the manner in which you kind of live and choose to live life. And I wanted us to kind of go through the story. The whole concept of my podcast is called It's Not Common Sense. And it's about people who have interesting life journeys and situations that a lot of people aren't going to understand because it's not common sense.
yeah,
And you kind of went from being one of the top rappers in South Africa, getting
yeah,
ridiculous endorsements from brands like Cell C, and like featuring in tracks with the biggest artists like Khuli Chana, etc.,
yeah,
etc. And you just decided to step back from everything and live a totally separate life to what people would like expect.
yeah,
But I think like let's kind of just start from the beginning and then chat about the rise and then
cool.
talk about the entire like transformation.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right. So before anything, can you tell us why are you Aewon Wolf? Where does that come from?
cool. So I got to break it up into two parts. A1 is a given name for my grandmother. So my grandmother was the woman that raised me, and she she passed on many years ago, and I had like a very strong, vivid dream of her, and she kept calling me A1 in the dream, and I kept asking, "Why are you calling me A1? Why are you calling me A1?" And she'd like look at me sideways and like as if I'm stupid for not knowing, and then eventually she's like, "Don't you know that's your real name, and you should know your real name." And I was like, and I remember waking up from the dream, and it was because it was so vivid. I specifically remembered that aspect, and I said, okay, I need to remember this name, A1. I even wrote it down, and I was like, A1 is my name. I need to remember that because there's power in names.
Mm.
And funny enough, I think it was soon after that I read in a book where that exact line was used. It's like there's a power in knowing your real name. Like the timing was just weird, and yeah, so I kept the name A1 and I always had the name A1. I added the wolf, so this is the second part, years later. Um, so yeah, the wolf was just an animal I kind of digged, and like being a fan of like Native American culture, like as a kid, like I was a small kid. Back then, it's not the PC term for them. We used to call them Indians.
Yeah.
But
There were even books like The Indian in the Cupboard.
yes, exactly. Actually became a movie
Yeah.
with the same title, actually. So when you were younger, we knew them as Red Indians, and like even before it became like not PC to call them, I already was calling them Native Americans because I was so involved with that culture, and I really appreciate that culture, and I used to love hearing about that culture.
Is that where the bandana came from?
The bandana.
Yeah.
Actually, no. I'd love to say yes, but no. The bandana came from actually from Pac.
Oh
From Pac.
shit.
Pac used to wear the bandana this way, uh, and I used to actually do that when I was like younger, like as a Pac fan. Like I used to, when I was like small when I did this, and it's like, and literally no one ever used to wear bandanas. But my mother had bandanas, so I took them out and I'd wear them, and obviously being black in the hood in South Africa, they used to tease us for being hip hop fans, and especially in Durban specifically, being a hip hop fan, they used to call us my nigga. So I used to get teased for, and I didn't care, like, cause I like Pac, as a kid, and my oldest brother was one of the few hip hop fans back then, like, period, and he used to hustle and find the music that was going on in the States.
Oh
And
jeez.
like, yeah, so he was like the plug for everybody. And so we had that in our house because of him. So
And that
yeah,
was pre-internet era, so media was like gold. That's what people don't understand.
They don't understand how difficult it was back then. Like it really was gold. Like people don't understand. Like explain to this generation now. Funny, I was on a call early on with my oldest brother, and he was trying to explain to my younger brother, what did we do before we had cell phones? He's like, how do you get a hold of people when there was no cell phones? Like he doesn't understand that.
You just had to hope the nigga was there.
I was like, there's thing called a landline. I'm like, I never thought I'd have to explain landline. Like we'd actually like call it landline and hope that he'd be there. Or if you didn't get a hold of him, get a hold of someone that could get a hold of him and arrange a time to actually speak to them. So it's like, yes, can you tell him I will call again at 7 o'clock? When he's
people
back
would
home.
await your call. Like,
people would wait. Yeah. And it's funny because it's as millennials, we in this awkward zone of we know the new technology, we understand it because it came up with us, and we know the old time before this technology.
still remember riding bikes in the street.
You know, we have that, we foot in both worlds. So it's like it's weird when you talk to a young person who does not get the old world, and then it's also weird when you get an old person who doesn't get the new world at all. So it's like we're in a beautiful position as millennials, I feel, to have that understanding. Sorry, we really segued, but
It's
that's
cool.
what's gonna happen.
That's the purpose of a podcast.
Yeah.
This is why carte blanche won't take me.
Yeah. So that was the bandana story. Then the wolf. So the wolf was Native American culture. They always had an animal spirit attached to names. So running bear or
Yeah.
so it was something I just wanted to add, paying homage to that side of things that I liked.
So now, just chatting about the rise a little bit, something that a lot of people don't know is that, like, you're quite the intellectual homie. Like, you have a law degree. Like, oh, yeah. By the way.
Yeah.
Dude, can you tell me, what was it like going back to your family after getting your law degree and saying, hey, listen, I want to be a hip-hop artist. I'm not going to do this thing right now.
It's interesting because I was technically the first family member to get a degree.
Oh, so they were pissed. Sorry.
Yeah. So there's like a bunch of hoopla on this degree thing, and I think since I was younger, I was given that cap because I was like, and I totally acknowledge my privilege in this situation where I was allowed to be the geek. I was allowed to be like different and not get bullied for it because I had two older brothers that were respected. Let me just say that. So they kind of like, and my dad had quite a bit of respect to his name as well. So I didn't really get picked on for being different. So I was allowed to be my own voice, and in being my own voice, I always used to like things that were different and intellectually inclined. So I kind of got labeled as the smart one.
Okay.
So when I got labeled as a smart one, you kind of like play into what you're labeled as. So I deliberately would read books more than anyone else. I deliberately want to know things more than anyone else because it's like it's what you're expecting of me. Even though like I just love TV, like I literally just sit in front of the TV and that was life for me. And
But old school TV was great.
Yeah, old school TV was our internet. Like that was internet. Like I could sit in front of the TV. Just fun story. In my household, they didn't speak English in my household. And my mother always used to make fun of me with this, but she's like, you forced us into speaking English. And I didn't understand because like I grew up in my household, they speak English. And it's a Sotho and Zulu home. Like it's mixed Sotho Zulu with a bit of English because there's colored descent as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a mixed family, but as far as I knew growing up, we spoke English in the home. And then my mother, like, one day was like, we only started doing it because of you. And I was like, well, what do you mean? What does that mean? She's like, yeah, you the one that forced us into this. You learned English from TV, not from us.
Mm,
And I was like, oh, that explains so much. Because, like, even growing up, I could never pinpoint where my accent came from.
Jeez,
Like,
yeah.
I could never, because it's like,
Because
you
it's not
don't
the
really talk
Durban
like that.
Chana, how's it?
Yeah,
Really?
it's not like exactly. I didn't go to white schools to get this accent. I didn't, like, there was none of that. And I'd always be, and that's part of also, I guess, the sad reality of the dynamics of apartheid doing its job. Because I spoke English well, that's part of why I was labeled the smart kid.
Mm,
So people was like, oh, you speak English very well. Oh, you're very smart. Immediately they just equate it. And I guess that's what I'm saying. I'm grateful and I understand the privilege of it because it allowed me to play into that role. And I did technically fit and tick the boxes of being smart by reading more and studying more just for that sake.
but it takes a lot of people a lot of time to realize that, like, just because I speak English well and I'm naturally vernacular, it doesn't mean I'm smarter than other people who don't speak English well.
100%.
Like in South Africa, we have this really weird thing where it's like you'll laugh at a black guy who pronounces English words wrong, but then you won't laugh at a French guy.
Oh, yeah. I'm so glad you brought that up because it's like it's kind of a pet peeve at one stage. Like it really like bothered me how that happens a lot. And I used to like call people out for it. I'm like, do you understand the fact that this person is speaking a second language already makes him smarter than you?
Straight up.
De facto. Like, can you speak a second language fluently? Most people can't. And yet, in the average South African black person who doesn't speak English great, might not be the best English or most fluent English speaker, they can be proficient communicators in a second language.
Exactly.
So immediately, as a standard, that person should be respected for that level of proficiency that they come with, no matter how sticky it might sound to you.
Mm.
Same way, and then you have a French person or glamorized for their accent. We want to laugh at our accents.
It's ridiculous.
It's actually quite sad, but it's something I
always
got
certain
over.
accents. So it's African accents, and then people laugh at Japanese accents a lot.
Oh yes.
Hurrah! Like it was always like a big thing. There's some groups that people find, oh, if you talk like this, you seem more elegant, or more interesting, or more exciting, and then the whole apartheid system kind of fostered that even more.
100%, 100%. But I mean, it's something that we all have to learn to adapt and grow. I don't blame anyone anymore. Like I said, it was something that was a pet peeve at one stage in my life. Now it just tells me you haven't learned yet.
Mm.
If you find that funny or you find someone less intellectual because of their accent, it's just you have not gotten to a state of understanding that it means nothing yet.
That's
so I
on
can't
you.
be mad at you.
Yeah, that's on you. That's not on this person.
Exactly.
100%. But wait, we went on a little bit of a tangent. So now you're explaining to your family that, listen, you're seen as the quote unquote smart one.
Yes. Everybody,
they probably have a lot of hopes and beliefs on you being the one to get that first law degree in the family.
Yeah. So yeah, with that, it was it came with a weird kind of pressure because I didn't want to study law. It wasn't the plan. Like since I was young, it was something that my mother pretty much put on me. Said, "Why don't you become a lawyer? Because you're always good at arguing your points."
Oh,
And,
jeez.
like it was something that she said to me, and then I also had a situation in high school that kind of convinced me into it, where it was like I had a run-in with the police, and I was just like, yeah, and they played us around, and I was just like, if I was a lawyer, they wouldn't have done this. Maybe I should, figure this law thing out just for the sake of my family, if anyone else rather. Then I wanted to go to film school. I actually did an application. This is early internet days, online to New York Film School, Film Academy,
Oh shit.
and
NYFA.
NYFA, and I actually got a partial bursary. I did all application, did a motivation. I gave them a whole story. I gave them like a little thing that I had made, which was not great, but I
You're
made
shooting,
something.
bro.
And they're like, "Oh, great! Give you this bursary. We have this bursary available for international students," and they gave me like a partial bursary. And I remember because it even came through the mail, and I was like so proud of it. And I was like, "Ah, look at this thing! I got a letter from," and all the way from the States. And, like, you can see it in the address, and it's like, partial bursary, and I'm like excited. And then I look at the facts of, like, I still have to pay for my flights to get there. I still have to pay for accommodation. I still have to pay for. There were so many things, and I was like, and I looked at our situation. We could barely keep the lights on in the house. We actually not barely keep the lights were on illegally in our house. Like we were not like, yeah, we were not in the position to be sending me to New York Film School. So I was like, what happens now? So I tried to look for funding. Nobody trying to fund a kid to go to New York to film school,
Straight up.
let alone New York Film School. I realized that there's better programs now, as far as I understand, but back then there was like nothing.
Yeah.
But there was plenty of funding for the conventionals. If I want to be a doctor, and I thought about it, but it was too many years. If you want to be an engineer, there's a plan. You want to be a lawyer, there's a plan. I was like, lawyer sounds interesting, and things played, like I said, into just picking lawyer. So I went for the law degree, and I thought it was gonna be easy. Wasn't.
You go to university, we're all smart.
Yeah, till you get there.
University shows you flames. It's like, damn, everybody's as intelligent as me.
Yeah. So yeah, but I got the degree. Long story short, and then I was just like, because of this whole build up into, I didn't want to do this, and I was like, I always used to say, I'm not gonna be a lawyer. I'm not gonna be a lawyer. I'm only doing it because I need a degree, or I want a respectable degree to my name. And my mother's like, yes, always have a backup plan. Yeah, it's just obviously believing the backup plan is plan A in her head. She's like, this music thing is not gonna do. He's not gonna do nothing with this music thing, this film, whatever, this creative, it's gonna die. And she had a strong, and listen, compared to how most people play out, she was not crazy for thinking so. Like,
Yeah.
it's good to have that backup plan, and if you have it, you're probably gonna fall in line. And I would have, if I wasn't so stubborn. And I just, like, as soon as the degree finished, I said, I remember what I said. I'm not gonna do this. She's like, yeah, but. I was like, no buts. I'm I'm doing music now, like, full time. I'm going, and I already set up for me to go to Joburg and pursue the music thing. And I was under JR for a few years there.
Like he was your manager.
No, so he was
Like JR from like Make the Circle
Make the
Bigger.
Circle Bigger, and this was just after Make the
Oh,
Circle Bigger. So this is JR peaked, like, at that time, because he's peaked in a different way, but at that time it was like peak as an artist. Like, he was the most popping thing at that time, and I like.
Exactly, dude.
And he
I
was
had people
interested
at
in what we were
matric
doing.
dances answer, make the
Circle
circle bigger.
Trust it, bro. So like, he was like the dream artist to be under.
Yeah.
So like, and he like.
So what does that
I'm
mean? Were you
grateful for
under
that.
his label? Like,
So he was setting up a label. We were meant to sign, and we actually were technically signed under his label, but we never signed the actual contract.
okay.
That's another discussion on how, like, the industry plays sometimes. But it's like,
Sounds like South Africa.
yeah. So so we were his artists. Yeah, we were his artists. We were under his label, but we hadn't signed yet. And then we spent a few years under him, and then things happened, and we just like, yeah, we had to split ways, and then I decided to go solo afterwards, because I was in a group at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I went solo, I hit up Sketchy who was my longtime like friend and producer at the time, and he was still here in Durban.
Sketchy Bongo.
Sketchy Bongo, yeah. And I was like, listen, bro, I'm doing this thing solo. You with me? He's like, hell yeah. And I was like, okay, we're gonna for the next year, we're gonna grind our asses off and make this happen. Because he was actually in a situation where he was like, my parents are forcing me either to work or to give up on this music thing. I have to give up on this music thing like,
Shit.
within the next year. So I've only got 1 year left. And they only let him like pursue the music thing because actually this is his story to tell. Let me not tell
We'll
that
have
story.
him on next time.
Yeah. But yeah, so he had that 1 year left, and we were like, let's grind. We put in the work and we grinded for a year. And in that year, funny enough, like that's when Aewon Wolf started and Sketchy Bongo. And yeah, we literally, yeah, it was crazy because we just were surpassing what we expected like every time.
What was that first major success? Like, what was the point where it was like, oh shit, we're not like completely broke anymore?
Oh yeah. So there were so many that happened at the same time, but let me. There was a song called, I think a defining moment was in Gumnandila. There's a song that we had called Gumnandila, and that song had okMalumekoolkat on it. And the song was like super different. It was like we were making I think like EDM trap with mixed with actual rap trap.
Oh
So
shit.
this is before trap was a thing, like in the world, not even in South Africa. Like trap wasn't as big. Trap was only this thing that T.I. had mentioned.
Yeah.
But it was like we had access to like back to my brother being a plug, like it naturally stepped into me where I was always looking for the next.
Yeah, you were there on
what's on the
LimeWire.
grind, yeah. Yeah, so like I knew about this like bubbling thing in the South called trap. And it wasn't a thing. It wasn't a thing yet. Let's put it that way. But there was an EDM trap that was also like blowing up. There's an EDM, I don't know if you remember this guy named Bauer.
I think so. Bauer.
Yeah, he was like an EDM trap DJ. Like he was like massive at that time. But like EDM trap is different to what we know trap as now. But it blew up. It's difficult to say because South Africa's like we are disjointed from America, but from what I could see, it blew up before like hip hop trap blew up. So that was Bauer had a song Barbara Streisand.
Yeah.
Barbara Streisand.
That one.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So he had that song. So that song was actually the guy who produced that song was actually EDM trap guy.
Oh, okay.
So he used to make EDM trap. That was his thing. So that guy, like he literally was one of the guys we used to listen to, and we created our sound based on that EDM trap and the South trap, and mixing a South Africanness into it, because that's what we were listening to.
That's your novelty, yeah.
Yeah. So we made a track called Kumnandila, and that song, and I swear to God, I sent it to 5FM as just like, why not? Like I email everybody when I release music, because we were just releasing music. We were creating a sub scene. So our thing with Sketchy, the plan wasn't South Africa.
Oh.
Our plan was we were gonna create the sub scene, which we already kind of had anyway. There's a venue called Origin.
Oh, bro, you ain't gotta tell me about Origin, bro.
So at Origin, we used to like we used to do the basement and the wood bar.
You used to go in the engine room.
Oh, engine room, bro.
Engine room at Ori's.
We used to. Can I swear in this thing?
Yes, you can.
Oh, okay, we used to fuck shit up in the engine room. That was our thing. Like, yeah, so we used to like literally. I don't know what there's a term guys like using, melt your face.
Melt your face up.
Yeah, we literally used to melt people's faces. Like that was our thing. Like we have to like literally soul destroy you
It's crazy.
in the
Everyone in this
basement.
room right now went to Origin.
At different
Probably
stages,
at that
probably
time.
at the same. If could have been at the same time, but our thing was like we come on and we do that, and we knew our sound was so alternative and different, because we do drum and bass as well.
Oh shit.
So we were doing hip hop with drum and bass, which is not too dissimilar to what is going on with jungle music in the UK.
With like Dizzy Rascal and those people.
Yeah, exactly. So we used to listen to those guys, and we try and do our own version of that kind of stuff. Like we literally, well, mixing pot. We used to like laugh about the fact that we stuck between the UK and America, and then you have South Africa here, and we have both sides, whereas they don't even understand each other.
Oh,
so like like the America, they don't know what's going on in the UK. The UK doesn't really care what's going on in the States. Yet we like get both sides here in South Africa, so we get the best of both worlds and our own dynamic going on here. So we the third wheel in this trifecta, and we actually take advantage of all the others of the other two, whereas the other two are independent on their own.
Oh jeez.
So-
And that's actually so true about South Africa in terms of our culture and all the media that we consume.
Yeah,
We are the microcosm. We are everything.
we are the world. Literally, in the words of Michael Jackson. Yeah, so that was like our thing. But we were like, we're gonna take this to the rest of the world, because explaining what I just explained now to a South African audience, especially at that time, was like, what is this?
Unheard of.
We don't get it. The kids, and obviously us being kids at the time, got it. Like our people got it. Like our people, like if you went to the engine room when we played, you understood what the hell we were doing.
Oh
We
shit.
took it out. You literally have people look at us like, what the fuck is this? What I don't understand. Like it was confusing. And we understood that, so we never expected the South African market to get it, type of thing. So like when we grinded, we were like, okay, cool, we're aiming for either the UK or the Europe, or somewhere in Europe they might get it, or the States, but we're gonna keep our little sub scene, and we're gonna thrive in our sub scene. And at the same time, I had Run DBN going on, so I was doing like my own hip hop events that I didn't expect to blow up, but they blew the fuck up.
So you started Run DBN?
Yeah, so I was it was myself and 3 other founders. So I came up with the Run DBN.
Shit.
And funny enough, we were just chilling at P Cutter's house, and while chilling at P Cutter's house, I was like, guys, let's just do our own hip hop scene, because we used to do hip hop house parties, and this was like way back when house was like the only music genre that was accepted in the black scene in Durban.
Straight up.
Hip hop was the unwanted stepchild in Durban. Like literally, they'd hate you if you brought up hip hop in a club. So we knew we had like a bunch of us that loved hip hop, that were into the hip hop culture and into hip hop music. So we just like started throwing our own house parties, and my parents were cool like that. They didn't really stress too much about us having house parties, because like our house was basically like a house party anyway, because there was like 13 kids being raised by my parents at the same time.
Oh jeez.
So 13, I literally counted. There was 13 at one stage, living in this one house, and
All sharing a
and that was just
bathroom.
kids. Yeah, we sharing sharing everything. So it was a house party all the time anyway. So they didn't mind us throwing our own parties, and then we started getting known for house parties, and we were like, we playing hip hop. We don't care. It's our house party. People will come in and complain and do the typical Durban thing. Hey, that's us. We tired of hip hop. Hey, we need house. We need house. We need house. We would say the same thing every time. Then go to your house. This is our house. We playing hip hop, and like we started getting like more people coming to our house specifically for that. So people coming from far away were coming just to our house parties, so they knew it was hip hop. So we started seeing, before the clubs or before the scene in here, we were seeing the people genuinely wanted hip hop. So we're like, so in chilling with Kaida one day, I was like, dude, let's start our own movement. let's just create our own events. You know what? We're gonna call it Run DBN, as in Run DMC, but Durban DBN. That kind of looks cool. Like,
That's sick, bro.
And then like it actually we went and did it. We printed T-shirts using the Run DMC logo and changed it to Run DBN.
The classic red run.
With red, yes, exactly.
DBN. Oh shit.
So and then like it just the timing was right. Everything worked. So we had that. So I had that going on this side, and then with Sketchy, I was like, cool, bro. Let's create this whole new thing because back to alternative A1 self because this is me. I never liked doing what was everyone else was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So Sketchy and myself were doing this weird stuff. And I was like, cool, we're going to double down on weird stuff. So back to the song. This is, we segue a lot, but
No, it's cool.
we
Podcasting.
get back to it.
This is how Joe does it.
Kumnandila was the single that was from this alternative stuff. It wasn't even like the more hip hop stuff that I do with Run DBN. It was the alternative stuff I was doing with Sketchy.
Shit.
So when I sent it out, I had no expectations, zero. Like I did not.
And
It had
okMalumekoolkat's the perfect guy to feature on an alternative type hip hop track.
Exactly. And the reason why I got Cool Cat was because Cool Cat, like, he appreciated, and the thing is, like, I met Cool Cat through Run DBN. And through Run DBN, at that time, Cool Cat, I think, was with Nike or something. Like, he was working with Nike. I think people don't know this history of his, but I met him through one of the guys who was with us around DBN, Sunny at a temperature. He used to make our threads, all our gear.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy's super talented designer. You need to have him on your podcast, by the way. And he like showed up cause I'm not proud of this, but I like booked a penthouse from the money we were making from our parties. And I lived in a penthouse.
Stop. Wait. No. No. We need to talk about this. How much was entrance to the party? How much money were you making from the parties? We need to talk about this right now.
So yeah, I'm not gonna give the exact figures because I don't remember, to be honest. But we were making like good money every weekend.
Enough to rent a penthouse.
Enough
What
to
year
rent a
was this?
penthouse. This is 2009.
It's 2009. Okay. So if a penthouse right now in Durban is probably about 36 to 45,000 rand, you're paying probably about 15 to 20 grand a month for that penthouse.
Yeah.
Off of fucking house parties.
Well, yeah. So at this stage, this actually was 2000. Yeah, 2009. Yeah, it was 2009. This was actually the crazy part of the story is that it wasn't the house parties anymore. We had actually upgraded to clubs. So we got our own club.
Shit.
So we ended up getting our own club.
Which was
called the Mansion.
The Mansion.
Yeah,
okay.
which was originally Tilt.
Where was it?
Opposite ICC. Funny enough.
Oh, spicy.
On the other side. Because funny enough, many years later, I actually got my actual proper club that I owned. Opposite was the warehouse.
That's what I was going to say. So you've always just had like real estate in the area.
ICC was always, to me, made sense because it was central.
Mm.
So anyway, so we had the Mansion on this side. And this was on the same road as the ICC. This was, I don't know if you know how ICC is. If you're driving between the Durban Exhibition Center and the ICC, and on your right, it's literally on that road.
On Bram Fisher.
I don't know.
Oh, sorry, the opposite. Okay, it's cool. It's fine.
But
ain't gotta be Google Maps.
Yeah, but anyway, so we used to run that venue called the Mansion. We were promoters. We didn't own the club. We were promoters, and we had nights, actually 2 nights, and we used to do the events there. And yeah, so we did hip hop events, and they were doing well, to the point where I dare to say, and anybody can try and correct me if they've got facts that can contradict this, but we shifted the club culture at that stage because no club before that played hip hop like as much as we did, if at all, because they only used to play 1 hour set, and the DJs that used to play that set was P Cutter, our DJ anyway. It was part of our clique. So we would go to those clubs with the understanding that when we're gonna go into those club for that 1 hour for his set, we're gonna turn the club upside down. And like that was the thinking, is that, and we literally would do that. We like create a scene for that hour in which his set was playing, and then that scene would disappear. Sorry, that scene would disappear with us, and that was strategic. We did that on purpose because we were like, we literally want to show people how fun hip hop can be.
Shit. So everyone would be like, fuck, where are the hip hop guys?
Yes.
Oh, they're at the mansion.
And the clubs picked up on this, and then they started like saying, okay, no, Picada, we need you as a resident. They started paying him to stay and not go. And then we actually built up a lot of hip hop DJs in this time. So they started taking our hip hop DJs that we created that didn't exist before us.
Oh, shit.
And they started like placing them as in-house
residents
DJs. And yeah. And next thing we know, that club culture like shifted completely, and it was like, it was 1 hour of house and hip hop the whole night. Like like if anyone can tell me that this is not facts, I welcome you to, because like for real, if you were in the club scene at that time, you would understand what I'm talking about. Like that's what we did. It shifted.
And during this era as well, okay, I might be getting ahead of myself, but you are almost as well birthing new hip hop artists and putting them on.
Oh yeah, we were doing quite a lot of that as well during that time with Run DBN.
Yeah.
Is that because we literally had this hip hop platform that never existed before. And it was like all the hip hop kids or guys at the time who were looking for a home or looking for something in terms of hip hop would come by us or like work with us in some kind of capacity. So in that aspect, yes. But I'm not going to claim everything, because there was a lot going on as well on the other side. Funny enough, in the Durban, like I think it was like a year after we started doing what we were doing, the crump scene blew up in Durban.
Oh, shit.
On the ground. And those are the young kids.
I remember that, bro.
Yeah, they were like...
You'd go to a U party and they just...
So that crump scene was massive in Durban. If anyone knows that was like a massive thing. And that was the younger generation.
You had like Soul Squad. Yeah, everybody knew these niggas. There was niggas like Tiny, big old nigga on his toes. Like... Yeah.
So yeah, so that entire culture, we were like the graduation for those guys. Like those guys would like funny enough, a lot of the guys from that scene who were like the coordinators or the godfathers of that scene, of that crump scene, were part of what we were doing, Run DBN. So some of them were our DJs, some of them were just our close friends staying at our penthouse and stuff like that. Like a guy named Flex. Flex was like the godfather of crump in the country, not just in Durban. He just happened to be in Durban. But in Durban, that scene worshipped him. Like he would, if he told them go left, they went left. If he told them go right, like he was the tight eyes of South Africa. Anyone knows tight eyes? This guy started crump. So, and it was like massive, and he really dictated to these kids like which way to go. And I saw that in him. So Flex used to stay with us. And Flex was like my homie. So I used to like help him with his events and stuff like that, to host events. But his kids or his audience were like kids, were really kids. So I couldn't. So for me, I didn't make money on them, but there'd be like thousands of them showing up at an event. We literally had to shut down venues because like, but you can't really make money from them. They don't have money.
It's kind of just, because back then it would be like a little bit for entrance, and then these kids aren't exactly buying drinks.
No.
Which is where all the money would come from.
But they rowdy as hell.
They're rowdy as
hell. So it was what it was. But like that also kind of perpetuated the culture and the artists, because a lot of the artists came from that scene. Like a lot of the guys that you see now in the game, some of them actually came up in that scene. Like there's a guy named Script.
Script.
Yeah, Lord Script.
Yeah.
He's like one of the biggest up and coming artists from Durban at the moment. Like he's like the new hot kid. He was back then, like to me, like, and Script's my boy, he knows this. Like he was like crump kid to me. Like he always crumping. Like I think he had the title of Lil Flex or something like. He was one of Flex's
Oh
little homies.
shit.
Yeah, so he was one of Flex had like 6, 7 little homies with all like baby Flex, Lil Flex, or something Flex. Like there was so many different
Homie had
Flexes.
disciples.
I swear it was like a cult. Like the club scene was this massive kids cult. Like if we had TikTok or social media like it is now back then, like people would be like reporting this to the police and asking Baker to shut this cult down. like like it was crazy. Like it was crazy. Like at the same penthouse I used to rent. Like crazy story. There's a Flex's story to tell, but I'll just try and tell it in a fair way. But we had cops show up at that house because there was a girl who left her home. She left her home for like and was missing for a few days, and then cops tracked her to the house, and she would not leave. And Flex was like begging this girl to leave because she just didn't want to leave. She was like so obsessed with him.
Jeez.
Like and this happened when I wasn't there. I wasn't at the house. at my penthouse. I just know because I got the call when the cops showed up. They're like, listen, there's cops here. What's going on? Like, what should we do? I'm like, what's happening? They're like, nah, there's a girl here who Flex has been begging to leave, won't leave. And now her parents are here thinking we kidnapped her.
Damn.
And I was like, hold on. You didn't? Okay, you didn't kidnap her, right? And they're like, yeah. I was like, okay, so you don't have to stress. Like, just cooperate with the cops. I was like, don't stress about it. Don't make yourself look dodgy or anything like that.
You're using
Just
the
cooperate
whole
with the
law
co-
degree. The whole thing.
Oh yeah, the law degree came in handy. Yeah, but it was like, yeah, you guys did nothing wrong. There was nothing that they could like call you out for, and yeah, apparently the cops dragged her out of the house. They had to like drag her out of the house because she wouldn't leave with the mother.
Jeez.
So anyway, that's how much of a following that this guy had. Like they were obsessed with him, like beyond level obsessed. It's actually quite scary when I think about it. But that culture groomed and produced a lot of artists in the hip hop scene and a lot of people who liked hip hop in Durban. I know some people have got like secrets or closets with their Crump era outfits that they're not proud of. Probably hiding somewhere. They know bucket hats, they know fake chains that they used to wear, the colorful gear that they used to wear.
Did you ever see the homies who painted their faces?
Oh yeah, that was clowning. That was like another aspect of Crump that. Yeah, Crump was like serious. It was like the religion. Like you could not get your wording right. I used to also make the mistake. I'm like, there's guys who paint. No, that's clowning. That's not Crump. Then you have people in Crump saying, no, that is Crump, but it's different kind of Crump. It's like, yeah, so they're very serious about their denominations. But
Okay, so just so I have an understanding. So right now, you've got this new scene developing with Sketchy Bongo that's doing really well in the clubs. You guys open up the mansion, okay?
Yeah.
At the same time as that's happening, Run DBN is going on.
yeah,
This whole culture, which is a culmination of this new type of hip hop, classic hip hop that you guys are playing within the clubs as well, and this